Welcome to The Lift with Sheila Robinson-Kiss. Come on in. There's always a special place set aside for you here where you can relax, kick up your heels, pour yourself a nice, refreshing drink, and prepare to be lifted and soar. Thank you so much and welcome back. Hold me tight. Living without touch and affection, it's a problem. It's a real problem for so many people. And what's so heartbreaking about these circumstances that many find themselves in is touch and affection is so important in a relationship. Touch and affection to a relationship is what cement is to the foundation of a house. It helps to hold the relationship up and keep it together. You know, it's one thing to be in life circumstances where affection and touch is just not necessarily available to you. It happens. Sometimes you might be single or other circumstances have come into play. That's one scenario. But it's another thing altogether to be sharing life or space or both with a counterpart who's completely capable of providing this touch and affection, but they just choose not to do it. And even though they may choose not to do it, it doesn't mean that touch and affection is any less important. And I want to go over 3 reasons with you that it really is crucial and vital inside of an established relationship between 2 consenting adults. Number 1, that touch and affection is just a signal inside the relationship that this is an important relationship. There's a tenderness here that really distinguishes this relationship and sets it apart from other relationships. It's touch and affection is a validation of the bond of the relationship. And there's also just a tremendous, a swell of research out there that lets us know touch and affection has benefits on top of benefits for our physical, mental, and spiritual, emotional well-being. So it really does create a deep void when we are in close proximity with someone and that touch and affection has been shut off. I've received so many letters in the past couple years from individuals. Some of them have been very honest and said, you know, I've completely cut off the touch and affection in my relationship. These are the reasons. And some people just say, I don't know why my counterpart has done this, but I do know it's created a strain, and this just doesn't feel like a healthy relationship anymore. So I'm going to go over the top 2 reasons that these folks have given me for cutting off the touch and affection in relationships. Number 1 has been feelings of being turned off or repulsed by changes in their counterparts' bodies, weight gain, weight loss, maybe they got sick. And the other one is, I've just gone so long without showing any touch and affection to my significant other that I don't even know where to start now. It's kind of a foreign concept at this point. And then somewhere falling in between both of those is just, you know, this person is not kind or nice. You know, I'm basically turned off from all of it for that reason. So I want to go over each of those and shed some light and share some thoughts. So, you know, the fact of the matter is people change over time. Their bodies change over time. I myself, you know, with the pregnancy of my daughter, I gained 70 pounds. That was a lot of extra weight, and it took a while for me to lose it. And I cannot tell you how refreshing it was to hear my husband say, sweetheart, how can I support you? What do you need from me? He knew and I knew I was not at my best. I wasn't looking my best. I wasn't feeling my best, but just that love and support goes so it goes tremendously far. And I can tell you from personal and professional experience, you're not going to berate someone into change, and also torturing them or withholding affection because your level of desire has changed is completely wrong and is completely inappropriate. If you cannot be kind and walk yourself or your significant other through certain changes that they may be experiencing, then it's time to sit down and just have a real conversation about what is going on and why. And I can hear some of you saying, well, Sheila, I can't, how can I, tell this person I'm turned off for this reason? Doesn't it make me a little bit of a jackass? We live in the real world. Human beings, we all have different wants, desires, needs, interests. So in the interest of saving your relationship or making it better, there are times when you really do just have to bite the bullet. You share what you need to share. You do it as tactfully and respectfully as possible, but it's all toward the health and healing of your relationship. And you start the conversation something like this. I'm coming to you because I want to see some changes in this relationship. I care for you. I wish I didn't feel this way. I do. And I want to feel differently. And I want to talk to you about some things that I think will help us and help the relationship to function differently. And basically you lay it out for them. If there's an issue with, there's been a change and the attraction has just waned or it's gone away, you need to be honest. And it may be hard for them to hear it, but it is for the health of the relationship. And I would speak to the significant other who's receiving this information now. You cannot damn someone if you say, I want to know, what's going on, and they're honest with you and they tell you. You need to be able to receive that, even if it's challenging, for the health and the restoration and the healing of the relationship. It is what it is. If this was Disney World and these were, kind of Mary Poppins videos, I would put it to you in a different way. But quite frankly, if you are dealing with someone where the physicality is of such paramount importance to them, at some level, hopefully you knew that at the start of the relationship, and you're just going to need to do a check-in. That's something that's important to them and it's going to need to be addressed. Now, also, it's not always due to physical changes. Sometimes it's just this person is nasty. I dealt with an individual 3 or 4 years ago, and he came in for session, is having a lot of marital discord and conflict. And he just said, I don't even want to talk about the touch or the affection. I don't even want to step foot in this door to see her, let alone be affectionate to her. She's mean. She's not grateful. She nags. If there's wind in my sails, I know when I deal with her, she's going to take them out of my sails. So, oftentimes you may have to have that check-in with, is it attitude? Is it disposition? And by God, if you are able to make changes, that are going to open up the path for more touch and affection, then you should do that. If you do want to have a healthier, stronger relationship, touch and affection is something that's it's intimate, it's rooted in warmth. So if your relationship is fractured at its core and there's not that goodwill and tenderness and understanding, that has to be dealt with first and foremost, or at least you're going to have to run a parallel program where you're working on that and shoring up, the levels of touch and affection in your relationship, which really serves as a beautiful enhancement. And sometimes when there's just more touch and affection, it cements that bond so much that you're going to have better feelings of being warm and kind and nice. So everything kind of flows in this nice circular motion. But at the end of the day, and if you've watched my videos before, you know that I talk a lot about degradation, because Degradation kills the spirit. Degradation kills the soul, and eventually it will cheat you of a healthy life. And if you can't get it together and be kind to one another and be warm, I would rather you just go your own separate ways, come up with a new program, because eventually it's going to implode on you anyway. Number two, I've gone so long, Sheila, I don't even know where to start. And people can and do grow apart in relationships. A relationship is like anything else. If you take your eye off your relationship, it's not long before it erodes. It's really just that simple. I worked with a lady who had been married for 14 years, and she comes in and she says, Sheila, last night I broke down. I collapsed and started crying. Well, what happened? After 6 years, it's been 6 years since my husband picked up a brush and brushed my hair. He used to do that often for her when they first got together. And she said, I was so overcome with just joy and reconnection with him that I just broke down, and I couldn't help but ask her, what happened? How did the marriage get in the circumstance in the first place? And she said, kids came along, we got stressed out, date night went out the door, we were tired all the time. It just, it fell to the wayside. And one day we looked up and we were roommates, and it can happen. So what I've learned in all these years of just living and my research and my practice, it's not these huge displays of passion and glitz and all that. Don't get me wrong, it's wonderful. But there comes a point, if the relationship is torn down at the core, all those huge displays do is just put a temporary band-aid on a gaping wound. And to prevent that, you keep your eye on the little things. It's the little things showing up with attention, a little kiss, holding hands, a cuddle, eye contact. It's those things day after day, taken over time, that build this bond of intimacy. It's ongoing intimacy that I call is that slow flame that you never want that to get snuffed out. And it's not that you can't reignite it. It just takes the little doing. So, if you're listening to me and something's resonating, it's like, I want to, Sheila, but it just seems like such a challenge before me. Start small. Rome was not built in a day. You're going to have to break the ice. And I call it an icebreaker because if you're in this situation, things have probably gotten so chilly, someone's going to have to step up and break the ice. And you start small. If you're watching a movie, sit a little bit closer than you normally would. Be kinder than you normally would. If your significant other is cooking in the kitchen, kind of get close to them and rub their arm and look them in the eye just briefly. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You don't have to get dramatic about it, but just again, it's those little reconnects, that good feeling. See, nothing is ever taken for granted in healthy relationships, and I can't stress enough, it's those little nuances that we string together over time that make all the difference. I hope something I've said here has resonated with you and has been a help. That is always my goal and intention. And thank you so much. I'll see you next time.